Media bias exposed. It's no surprise that the left-wing media hates President Trump. But this next story might be one of the most grotesquely irresponsible examples yet. During yesterday's Sanctuary State Roundtable, the president was asked about the dangerous MS-13 gang. Watch.
There could be an MS-13 gang member I know about. If they don't reach a certain threshold, I cannot tell ICE about them.
We have people coming into the country, or trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals. And we're taking them out of the country at a level and at a rate that's never happened before.
The mainstream press, including the New York Times, USA Today, Washington Post, and many others, took Trump out of context, suggesting he called all illegal immigrants animals, not just MS-13. The morning paper's flat out misleading readers with headlines like this from the New York Times, quote, Trump calls some unauthorized immigrants animals in rant. And from USA Today, quote, Trump calls undocumented people animals, rhetoric with a dark past. The president addressing the outrageous reports.
You know I'm referring to the MS-13 gangs that are coming in. And I was talking about the MS-13, and also, and if you look a little bit further on in the tape, you'll see that. We have laws that are laughed at on immigration. So when the MS-13 comes in, when the other gang members come into our country, I refer to them as animals. And guess what? I always will. But we're getting them out by the thousands. But it's a big, dangerous job. And they're able, in some cases, to come back in, or new groups come in, also from the gangs.
Sarah Sanders also issuing this epic takedown of the liberal Trump-hating media earlier.
The president was very clearly referring to MS-13 gang members who enter the country illegally and whose deportations are hamstrung by our laws. This is one of the most vicious and deadly gangs that operates by the motto of rape, control, and kill. If the media and liberals want to defend MS-13, they're more than welcome to. Frankly, I don't think the term that the president used was strong enough. MS-13 has done heinous acts. It took an animal to stab a man 100 times and decapitate him and rip his heart out. It took an animal to beat a woman they were sex trafficking with a bat 28 times, indenting part of her body. And it took an animal to kidnap, drug, and rape a 14-year-old Houston girl. Frankly, I think that the term animal doesn't go far enough.
Dana, this is devastating for the mainstream media, and this wasn't just a few outlets. These are some of the biggest, most credible media companies out there really just botching something that's pretty simple.
Well, and also it grew because of social media. Right. So I remember there were times when like an editor up here in New York would write a headline or a caption or choose a photo that was out of context. And you would actually have White House reporters, for let's just call it the New York Times as a hypothetical, who would call up to New York and like, whoa, 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 that's not what he was saying, that's not what he was doing. And I don't know what happened here. That possibly could have happened, but it can't happen soon enough. And then some of the outlets, like the AP, deleted the tweet, which is better than nothing, but it does show you that immediately they heard animals and immigrants, and they put it together without the context, and so that's unfortunate. I did want to make one point about this. It's not. It does happen to the president on this MS-13 issue, but it also happened to somebody recently. So Ed Gillespie, when he was running for governor of Virginia, he was one of his issues was MS-13, and the Washington Post had several headlines, and I think if we have them here, we can show you about how Ed, basically describing Ed as a racist, saying that Ed as we're poisonous. Okay, so a month later, and since, the Washington Post all of a sudden has had a change of heart about MS-13 in their headlines. Post-election, after Ed Gillespie loses, they talk about how MS-13 is terrible. They are the violence, then the talk and fear. These are just a couple of examples, but it's just very interesting that the media tend to defend MS-13 in the strangest ways in order to help to hurt a Republican. It's a unfortunate set of events, but also here's the thing. This helps Trump.
It does help Trump.
I think not that you don't want this to happen to anybody, but at the end of the day, he certainly won on this one.
And like Dana said, Greg, some very strange things to come out of this. I saw some people on Twitter saying, you know, even MS-13 members aren't animals, they are humans.
Well, that's
the president a little too seriously here.
That's because they had to shift the once the story fell apart, they had to find a new avenue. So now they're defending a murderous gang of rapists, like as if MS-13 is now yet another victim class.
Right.
And if you go after them, you're the bad guy. And how dare you, Judge? They're just a misguided. They're like a book club without the books. But you know what this is? This is the Laurel Yanny experiment writ large. Normal people heard what they heard correctly, which was he was referring to a gang. The media heard racist. So it's the Laurel Yanny, except it's different because they're mishearing this on purpose. This isn't an accident. They are, I guess, maybe because of their own confirmation bias, they selectively hear something. And then, you know what the next strategy is? Okay, so they know that they're wrong. They know that they made a mistake. What they're going to say is, well, Trump has said bad things before, and he will probably say them again. So it doesn't really matter that they're wrong here. That is the same argument that is used defending hoax hate crimes. Oh, that racist graffiti was fake. But somewhere around the country, it is real. Yep. That's the last argument they're going to have to defend this, and it's going to be hilarious. This has been done a lot. I always credit, I'll give time to other people, but
okay. As Sarah Sanders mentioned, and did a very good job of mentioning the just amount of heinous crimes committed by MS-13, Kimberly. I mean, you've had experience with them. I don't see how the Democrats can even go near a gang like that.
No, absolutely. And just over the years and prosecuting and working as a gang crime specialist, I'll tell you, this is by far the worst, most notorious gang that I've ever come across. And that's even with the Aryan Brotherhood having a contract out on me to have me killed. It's expired. But when this
that wasn't my fault, by the way. I tried to talk them out of it, Kimberly.
You were too cheap. They didn't take you up on it. So this is a prime example of media bias exposed, right? Because you see a situation like this, because the level of vitriol that they have and the angst and upset towards the president, they just took it too far. And they tried to say, oh, look, this is a situation where he's being racist, talking about this. I don't think the president took it far enough, saying animals. And I'll tell you why. Because when you see their handiwork and you're actually at the crime scenes, you see these photos, you talk to the family members of MS-13 and other gang members that commit these heinous atrocities, just vicious, vicious gangs and killings, showing no regard for human life, use of the machete. Another favorite is they love to put nails on baseball bats to beat people to death. The types of crimes they commit, the young girl who's a teenager who they felt disrespected, the gang leader's shrine to a demon, and family members not even able to identify their children because of the state that their bodies are left in after dealing with these guys. You know what? Not even animals, not wild animals even behave like this. So when you really think about the facts and about what the president was saying, he was showing a respect for victims, respect for law enforcement, and a total flat out, saying I have no tolerance for heinous crimes committed, and I look to public safety and to law enforcement to do something about this.
Juan, you've worked in the mainstream media before, in the print media. Any excuse for something like this? Is it sloppiness or is it something more, do you think?
Yeah, it's called accuracy.
Whoa, what do you mean by that?
Because it's accurate. I mean, the thing about this is I'm loving this because you guys are like feeding the grievance on the right by saying, oh, yeah, that terrible mainstream media. How could they say this? Is just so awful. They've misinterpreted the president. You know what? The president called people animals. And then you say, oh, no, it wasn't people. He was referring, to the Hannibal Lecters of the world, this MS-16 gang. Well,
13.
13, whatever. Say, all right, so fine. You know what? That's not fine.
They're growing.
You do not talk about other people as animals, and I don't care who you are or who they are. You do not become a monster by demonizing your opponent.
Okay, so
that's a mistake.
Someone could be good people.
Hold on. I want to finish. And you know what?
They've demonized themselves, Juan.
I think they're terrible, but I don't think that.
Wait a minute. You called them terrible, Juan?
Terrible.
How insulting are you?
No.
How dare you call them terrible? See, that's hurtful.
I tell you what's hurtful. I call you hilarious. Now, so here's the thing. You have the president, a president who says that people who are coming to this country who aren't white are coming from S-hole countries. You have the president talking about people coming from Mexico. Murderers, rapists, right?
Some of them are
Criminals.
good people.
Oh, some of them are good people. This is exactly the kind of excuse you hear from the right-wing
that
echo
was his
chamber.
quote that I was
I'm just
reading
telling you.
back to you.
No,
Juan.
I'm telling you. You know,
He's confused
you guys,
too.
Yeah, I'm giving you context.
You're
you guys
morphing.
are Trump apologists today because the president said
No,
something.
you're a fake news apologist,
No,
Juan,
I am
because
not,
the basis of the
because
story is the
the base-
president's was taken out of context.
It was not. That's a distortion.
Egregiously.
You talk about
No,
a
what's
twist.
distorting about that?
It's
Do you think
totally
AP
distorted
shouldn't
because
have
you know what
deleted
you
the
do.
tweet?
Then why did everybody
you guys
correct it, Juan?
love,
All right.
You guys love to
stop.
make immigrants into the evil, and because it fires up Trump's
You're
base.
conflating MS-13 with immigrants.
Did you hear
No,
what Dana
the
said?
president is.
Did you hear
The
what
No,
Dana
he's
said
not. He was
about
specifically
the
asked
AP?
about MS-13.
Dana?
There's a lot of this has happened. You know, this Laurel Yanni thing, which you're seeing again right here, is Juan hears Yanni, which is sad because it's
I do.
definitely Laurel.
I heard Laurel.
But it is. This is a valuable lesson, and I hope that somehow we learn from this, because a couple of weeks ago, something Chris Hayes did from MSNBC, which I thought was pretty admirable. Trump was talking to Paralympic athletes, and he said he wanted to watch them perform, but he found it hard. And so there was a group of people that said how disgusting it was that he was saying how hard it was to watch people with disabilities perform, when actually what he was saying is it's hard to watch because he's busy. As a president, it's hard for him to watch the Olympics or the Paralympics. Chris Hayes originally tweeted out that this was disgusting. And then he watched it again, and he goes, the Yanni went to Laurel. And he goes, you know what? I was wrong. That he was talking about the schedule.
Right.
And if people just go and they listen, it's so obvious. He's talking about a gang. He's calling
Right.
them animals. Everybody knows that. But you have to... people have to learn that maybe they have to step out of their own delusions, their own emotions, and realize that your first initial response is incorrect.
Do you think
it's
that
good to
you think
wait.
that anybody who's a criminal is an animal?
I think that's
I don't think
insulting
that's
to
true.
animals.
Okay, I don't.
By
think
the way, we're
that's
all
true.
animals.
And
We
I
are all
think-
animals, Juan.
And I think in our society, lots of people who are judged guilty of crimes later return, and we want them to be part of our society.
so
we don't say they're animals and they're
Are
slaughtered.
are Nazis animals?
Guilty, Juan.
Are Nazis animals?
You're giving MS-13
No,
more
you
the
wouldn't call a
benefit of
Nazi
the
an
doubt
animal?
than President Trump, Juan.
No, and I like what Greg said about, I forget which host, Chris Hayes,
Mm-hmm.
because I think people make mistakes. Remember when the Dr. King
Well, they take things out of
statue, they said
context.
it was removed from the Oval Office, and then they had to correct it?
Right.
People, believe me, people in media make mistakes, but this is no mistake.
but
This-
It
the
happens,
mis-
it happens the other way too, and I don't know all of the details, but Chris Cillizza of CNN, there was something this week that about a graphic or something, and then the right media went crazy with it and said,
Yes.
oh, he put a target over President
Yeah,
Trump,
and
and
it's not
Cillizza's like,
true.
no, I didn't, but it had already gone halfway
Spread.
around the world, and so it does happen for both sides.
It's just worse on their side.
Right.
Trust me.
Yeah, and they're getting
Well, I'm
all
not
these
saying-
news stories wrong,
Right.
and they always
yeah.
damage President Trump. So that's why they're not honest mistakes, because they
deleting
never make
tweets.
mistakes about Democrats.
Take a moment and look at the context.
That's right.